I was born in the summer of love in Fort Rucker, Alabama, to John and Cookie Danek. It's her real name. He was an Army officer in flight school. She, unfortunately, is a stay-at-home mom to my 3-year-old sister. Her name is Lee. When I was 2 weeks old, we moved to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which pretty much set up a pattern of migrancy for the next 12 or 13 years. We moved every 18 to 24 months. Eventually, I ended up with 2 siblings. I have my older sister, Lee, that I mentioned, and I have a younger brother, Robert. He's 8 years my junior. We call him BJ. He's stopped wanting to be called that at this time. I can't understand why. Being a pilot, my dad was gone a lot. My mom, as mentioned, was a stay-at-home mom. She spent way too much time taking me to the doctors. I really think she may have needed a better hobby. When Pop, that's my dad, was around, I did learn to fly, sail, ride motorcycles, build cars, and most importantly, always be on the lookout for blue M&Ms. They didn't exist at that time, but you gotta always be on the lookout for the blue M&M. I was a Boy Scout and an altar boy. No. For a time, I even considered the priesthood. Apparently, I learned as a teen I did like girls a smidge more than the Almighty. I did not become a priest. Although I was an honor student, I was far from studious. The 80s was a blast. We got to see all of the John Hughes films, first run in the theater. I'm currently watching them with yet another one of my teenagers. They get to see them each and every time as if it was their first. I get to see them as if it were my 80th, which it is. Somehow I managed a 4-year scholarship. That didn't last very long. College was really, really fun. ROTC, awesome. I was going to be a helicopter pilot. Again, college was very, very fun. It was so much fun, I lost my scholarship after a year. So, I joined the Army to replace the funds. I did start in the reserves. However, I did end up on active duty. Like I said, the ROTC was awesome. 1991 brought the Gulf War, marriage, and a kiddo. The next 8 years blessed me with 2 more children. At the end of the 90s, I had 2 daughters and a son. Those years were also filled with growth, wisdom, more turmoil than she could shake her fist at. That's all I'll mention about that. The new millennium delivered the kids and I safely back to the Houston area by ourselves. I stopped looking for blue M&Ms. Kids and I continued to grow. My career continued to flourish. I became more and more specialized in my field, radiology. Interventional radiology and cardiology is where I assist physicians at bedside to perform sterile and often life-saving procedures. Teaching new technologists and students is something I also do and find incredibly rewarding. After a few years, even though I wasn't looking, someone caught my attention. She was a nurse on my floor, and we would bump into each other more and more. Not necessarily by accident. My coworkers found it funny. I would always volunteer to pick up and return patients on her way. One day, on the way to the restroom, true story, we bumped into each other and began talking. We were married on the beach in Florida at sunset. We have a 7-year-old daughter. While trying to help Tony, the lone son, through what seemed to be an especially awkward development, we learned that he has Asperger's, a high-functioning form of autism. Interestingly enough, the more we learned, the more we learned. I was also diagnosed with Asperger's at the time. Temple Grandin is kind of a hero in our home. We have all of her books and her book. Renee, my wife and best friend, has had the privilege of meeting her and seeing her speak on several occasions. I'm a little jealous. Learning this has given me a lot of insight as to how I see things, which is in pictures, incidentally. kids, they're getting older. Some of them have begun falling out of the nest. 2 are up and out. We have a 16 and 7-year-old left at the house. Even though they're far apart, they are the absolute picture of sisters. They're 9 years apart, but they could not be closer. They are a lot of fun, and we get to travel and do a lot of things with them that we weren't able to do when I was just the other kids and myself. Renee, who I mentioned, my wife and best friend, finished her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing several years ago and began a new career as a hospice care, providing nurse. I have further specialized and am now working with an actual brain surgeon. Yes, they do exist. Mine's from Chicago, 2 years my junior, and extremely funny. I love what I do. I miss training people and working with students, however. With prior colleges and classes in the Army, I am a junior in this program. As I stated, I really miss working with students. Unfortunately, without a degree, that is not a career path I have been able to pursue. Now that my wife is where she wants to be and the kids are growing and going, it is finally time for me to head back to school and follow my dream. So being a junior, here I am. Public speaking has never really bothered me. The outline portion of this assignment was actually the hardest part. And looking at your smiling faces. You know me. School is something of which I've never been a fan, so it's more than a little ironic that I'm here as an adult by choice, and especially that I want to teach it. So there I am. I'm a guy who's madly in love with his wife. I'm crazy about my kids, and more comfortable with myself every day. I am John Anthony Danek II, and I want to leave you with Victor Hugo, that one can resist the invasion of an army, but one cannot resist the invasion of ideals.